All right, so being here for 2 weeks, um, I had some pretty awesome ceremonies, and I think a lot of that has to do with me and my mother being religious and spiritual, and allowing them both to tie in. Um, Starting out with my first ceremony, when I first got here, like I said, I kind of came here thinking this was going to be just a spiritual journey. I didn't know what to expect. Psychedelics, I'm in the jungle. Um, and then it just showed me, like, my first ceremony was definitely telling me who I was as a person. It showed me all my worst things I did in my past. It showed me who I am, and how I came to be as a person. It was like facing the mirror. Like, you had to contend with what you did. You had to contend with the things that you said to people. Um, and you had to understand that there's a reason why all this happened. Um, and that was so insightful for me. The first ceremony, it's like I didn't even get upset that it was chaotic. I liked it because I needed someone to tell me all these things, because I already know these things, and I put them in a bottle and forgot about it, you know. And it just pulled all these things during the first ceremony right back out, and it was just like, don't forget this, don't forget this, this is who you are, this is what you did, are you happy with yourself doing this, what do you think about this, that, everything that I did wrong in my life. And it had me go over it. It was almost like I was being judged, and I understood what it was trying to tell me. It was trying to tell me these things make the person who I am today, and I shouldn't feel shame. I shouldn't feel shameful, so I shouldn't hide, I shouldn't cower, I shouldn't be fearful. That was the gist of, like, the first ceremony. Second ceremony, I felt like it just kept going up on a scale. A thunderstorm happened. The most amazing thunderstorm. It was in the beginning of the ceremony, the ayahuasca. I knew what to expect, and I set my intentions like true. I took my time with ayahuasca. There's a picture in one of the places where we all eat at, of Mother Ayahuasca, like looking at each other, almost like a mirror face. And I would take my my drink, the dieta, uh, and set my intention and look at it. And then one of my intentions in my second ceremony was, give me the courage to dispel my fear. And that was the most insane thing I've ever experienced, starting from my second ceremony, where it dove into my connections with people, and how connections should be valued, and how it's a two-way street with the connections. Like, you got to do your part, and there's also certain rules when socializing with people, like help a friend in need, always uh, set an intention when you meet someone, like intent to learn more about them, you know. So, and one of the things I always struggle with was attaching either desire or greed or my own self-indulgence when it comes to people. Or I would run this checklist through my head before I even socialize with anybody, and then it wouldn't even happen because I already ran the whole conversation through my head and was like, it's not worth my time. Now understanding that connections are a lot more than that. Connection is about building like an unbreakable bond, telling your story, having someone there for you, you know, helping you through the chaos, being there through their chaos. And I didn't realize that. And then it also showed me that, how we value our connections. If we put feelings into a friendship, then, we should relocate, reset our intentions with them, and let them know it's more pure. Just make sure that everything you're doing is for us, as a friendship, as a connection, as a bond, and you carry these friends throughout your entire life. And that's one of the things that I was struggling with. After the NDE, I got myself clean, but I didn't know how to socialize, and it kind of helped me build this bridge and let me know that as long as I owned myself and I was comfortable in my own skin, didn't matter what people think. I could talk to anybody, because it was telling me that people love me for my imperfections, not the mask I put on. Because the mask is easily taken off, and you can always switch masks with different people, but they don't really know who you are, so you never feel that connection with them. But once people understand who you truly are and your true intent with them are, then there's a certain bond that you share with people, friendships, everlasting friendships, everything. Then it dove into my faith, which is I'm following my mom and converting to Catholic, and faith, especially since my NDE, has been a big thing, and it was pretty cool. Being a religious person, we always kind of look at spirits as a no-no. Ayahuasca was like, in my ceremony, was like, I'm friends with your God, and it was eye-opening. Like, I was like, excuse me? She's like, yeah, I'm friends with your God, would you like to speak with him? And I was like, no way. And she mentioned something funny. It was like, here, you only have a little bit of time because he's a busy God. And I understood that completely. And the first thing, when I saw this image of Jesus in his robe and a red sash, and it was a still image, but I could hear his voice. And then I sit there and I cross myself and I prayed to him and I told him that I'm new at this. And sometimes I don't know what to say. I don't know how to ask for protection. I haven't memorized all the prayers, because I'm learning, at an older age when I went to school when I was younger. And this is something that I want to put a lot of effort in. And it was a relief hearing, speaking to Jesus, let me know that I can say anything. As long as it comes from my heart and it's pure and you're speaking to me and you're not asking or begging for things. And I thought that was awesome, because then that kind of reassured me that I can pray and be myself from the heart, and then I can speak with Jesus and everything was okay, as long as I do it from the heart and I make a true intention when speaking with him. All that ceremony was probably one of the pinnacles that I've ever had in my life, because of that major reason. And because it was, before it taught me all that, it wanted me to crush my ego. And I just imagine, when the thunderstorm was going, it was like needle rain. It was almost like white noise when you turn on the TV. It's like, and the whole time, Mother Ayahuasca was saying, destroy my ego, because that's the only way that I can get around, like, the pre or self-judgment, the anticipatory conversations in my head, or else I would never speak with anybody, because my ego tried to keep me safe, it tried to keep me in a box, it tried to keep me in a shell. So learning that, definitely, like, each one of these ceremonies were like a big hurdle in a long race. Going into my third one was pretty intensely visual, super cool, super awesome. um, it was like leading me into this garden. The path was decayed, and the symbolism, I felt like it was my past. I understood it instantly. Like, I grab these insights when it shows it to me. And then there were these gates, and there's these two huge protectors. There was like these emperor praying mantises in bone ivory white. And no matter where I tried to focus my visual at, they hurried up and they scurried to my focus, and they were protecting something, because they weren't threatening, but they were aggressive, and they were guarding something. That's what I sensed. And then it kept snapshotting me back to being, coming from the heart with pure intentions. When you meet people, it was reassuring me or testing me that this is what you got to do, kind of, before we let you in. You got to remember this. You got to ingrain this. Like, you can't lead your intentions in like a wrong way. Like, you can't have no intentions. You can't attach labels to people and socialize with them without having a true intention from the heart, like intending to learn about that person, intending, just to give positive energy, or just a positive influence to people. And it snaps on me back to where these praying mantises were, and they opened the gate. It was a beautiful, beautiful garden, flowers, blue and pink everywhere. It was the wildest thing. Like I said, the most visual thing I've ever seen. I could see it clear as day as they're popping up and blooming, and then in the background were these gems, different colors, yellow, blue, red. There's three of them, three big ones. And it kept snapshotting me back out of that image and in and out of different things. And I had a synchronicity moment with one of the guests here, Ty. If you hear this, man, thank you. You've done so much. I learned so much from you, man. And you're very inquisitive. You and thank you for being like an amazing friend. I'm so happy to have met you here. In the synchronicity part was he was reading a book on intentions, and he asked me to. He didn't know what this word was, and the word was receptivity. And I looked at it. I never heard of the word, and I thought about it. Reception, to receive. I tried to self-define it without looking it up because we don't have cell phones here. We can't really look up a dictionary or anything. But it was obvious what it was meant. In my ceremony, it was telling me that I need to be receptive to people. Like I need to be available for people, in these connections, and to help people in need, and to listen instead of like sometimes we talk to these connections, we talk to our friends, and we have our own story built up in our head, building because we're so excited to share that we're not listening to the person who's already telling their story. So it ends up being thrown off the table, and then you just impose your own will on them, and then you don't understand or where they came from, and then everything just kind of gets forgotten about. But you were happy that you shared your story because you were so excited to share it. It was reminding me that we need to be receptive to people and other people's positive influence. Listen to people. People have things to say. um, and then it went into a whole nother thing where not only that, words are powerful. Choose them carefully. you know then it snapshot me back, and then it showed me these three heavy gems. And the reason why they're so heavy, they were my virtues that I try to live by. It was like these praying mantises were guarding these things that I've kept very dear to my heart that I need to reassess and use because I've almost forgotten about them. It's like the yellow one was like unwavering respect for people, like respect to me in one of my virtues is you have to give respect to earn it. You can't demand respect. And respect is not something that you wait on. It's something like when you meet an individual or connection, it's like it's squashed right there immediately. It's like instant respect, no matter what. For all things too, animals, plants, objects, everything. Just all the ultimate respect, unwavering respect for everything. Like no doubt about it. And then the other gem was something my father always told me, and my mother, is treat people how you want to be treated. If you treat someone, like crap, they're gonna treat you like crap. It's kind of to be expected. But you want to treat everybody. There's this famous saying. I think his name is Ram Dass. I think Ram Dass. Yeah, he says treat everybody like God in drag. And so every time I look at somebody, it's like you got to treat them with respect. We've all been there, you know. We've all been in their shoes. We're all human. We're all together on this, you know. And you just look at somebody who normally you would be like, oh, not this again. But then you're like, oh, that's God, like testing me. And yeah, and that's one of my virtues. And the other one, the last and final one, was choose your words carefully, and then be receptive of others. Like understand what others are going through, be available for others in the time of need, and just be open and vulnerable for people. Be inviting. Don't be so closed-minded, so closed off. And that was the gist of that was like my third ceremony. Yeah, that was my third ceremony. And then it just got again like it got increasingly insane from there. Where like my fourth ceremony was pretty intense because it had a lot to deal with. Um, it had a lot to deal with my demons and how we curse ourselves, calling ourselves stupid, calling ourselves dumb. And these are the demons that we all think aren't real, but drag us down slowly. It's not like the biblical demons we think. The big ones, those are easy. Like, don't murder. It's easy, you know. But the calling yourself stupid, and beating yourself up about it, it's like these demons, like, it was showing me ayahuasca, they take their claws. You don't know that they're there. We don't know that they're casting these on us. it relayed a message to me saying that, words are powerful. Again, from my other ceremony, words are powerful and they should be chosen wisely. You could easily, like, avert someone in the wrong path by saying the wrong thing. If you didn't take time and think about, your word selection and how you spoke to people. Um, and the reason why words are powerful, because these words that we say to people, they have meaning. And this ceremony kind of went into what things mean to me. Sometimes we don't look at ourselves and the things that we say and define them for ourselves. Um, and when I learned to reassess things and define, like, what's comfort to me, what's really comfort to me, what does that mean to me, it also gives us an insight to other person's perspective, like, where are they coming from when they say maybe like a hateful thing, or when someone's angry, like, where are they coming from? You have to look at things at a different perspective. um, and because of that, it kind of showed me that, definitions are big, because someone might be going through a really hard time, but how they define their hard time might be different on how we define hard time. So it's not as easy just to say get over it, you know wipe the slate clean, because really you're just pushing it back on them. There's a lot of that back and forth, um, between the words being power and being respectful and the demons. And this was the first time I've ever been in a group as, like, the only American. Usually when Americans travel, there tend to be a bunch of Americans, and it was so awesome because I saw it from my perspective as a learning experience, because everyone was so well traveled, from Portugal, England, Israel, um, Venezuela, Australia. Like, everyone had their own story, and I had to be receptive and vulnerable to everyone's story, and it made me learn that, as I am an American, we can feel isolated too in America. Like, we have our own demons, political demons, all over our own country. So I can understand how an outsider can look in to an American, and, like, a lot of times it's like, where we come from, this country, and we think we're perfect, and, we have our own stuff to deal with. A lot of epidemics going through our own country, and this ceremony went into me being an empath, and how, like, sometimes things are so big I don't have to take that on. And it told me that because I'm an empath and I tend to take the negative energy from people, it I tend to feel more hurt or feel more joy, like twice as much as a normal person, and it's something that I just don't have control of. So I have to learn to manage it. And ayahuasca was telling me that I need to learn to make time for myself, whether it's meditating, whether it's time alone, time in my head, to purge this. Because carrying these negative emotions, um, just brings my ego back, and just to try to protect me from doing all the things that I want to do, from telling my story. And yeah, and then that was the gist of that ceremony. I want to say we're at, like, the fifth one. I was here 2 weeks. It was awesome. Um, my last one was man, my last one was pretty good too. I can kind of tie the fifth and the sixth one together. Um, Mainly I lit the sixth one because the fifth one was kind of reassurance of everything. It was more of a comfortability feel. It was more of like a masculine energy in the fifth one. Um, with all this fear mongering my ego was doing, as a man, I felt like I lost some masculinity because I wasn't being the man, the leader who I normally am proud to be, from what my father taught me. So it instilled that in me. And it had a lot to do with respect. When you speak to people, when you give respect to people, it reminded me, stand tall, keep your back straight, be receptive to these people, you know. Um, Again, if you're gonna, demand respect, you have to give it, or else you're just not gonna earn respect. And it was a big masculine energy when the whole time it's been dealing with me through the feminine spirit, Mother Ayahuasca. And this masculine side was letting me know to kind of like stop cowering, stop being afraid, you know. Um, I did all that in the past. I should be, I shouldn't be shameful, and I should march forward. And that leads me into like the finale of my ceremonies, which was by far so crazy for me. Um, it started off, one of my favorite things is to bring something home from places that I've been, simply because in the past when I traveled, I've had some mishaps where things didn't go right or my disposable cameras came out blank. So now when I travel, I make sure I grab everything I can. And I felt so much love in this place. I got everyone a bracelet just to share, knowing that it was made from a shaman with good intentions from the heart. They make these things mantras, and these mantras are are sewn almost quilts and blankets, um, embroidered with Icaros is what the shaman sings, and that's like the healing song that they sing, where it's almost like when the shaman sings, they conjure these plants and they heal you. Um, very very powerful, especially being on dietas,
Yet.
yeah. Um, and I picked some of them, for one for my mom and then one for me. And the one for me that I picked, there was another one I wanted, but the one for me I picked came up really big in my ceremony because of my faith. It was so big. It was like a wall-size embroidered sash that they did with Icaroses and jaguars with the pythons coming out. And the shaman Raul was telling me how powerful this one is. And that's what led me to kind of choose it. In the ceremony, I got a nudge from the Holy Spirit. You know, me being religious, I get that nudges sometimes, especially when it deals with spirits, that the Holy Spirit kind of intervenes and wanted me to do something about this. And I even felt it too, like some things are so powerful that you don't want to overshadow your own faith. And you just have to set it aside and understand that it's not for you, um, but be respectful of it,
Mm.
right? And there's another one in there that I wanted to switch out. And thank you for the staff. Like in the middle of a ceremony, I walked up to one of the staff members, Clarissa, and I was like, I didn't know how to tell her that. I didn't want to freak her out during the ceremony about my faith and this. And I was like, I'm kind of having a little bit of regrets with this one. Can you help me pick out the one that was actually eyeing me, the one with the snakes on it? Um, and she helped me. She walked me there with the flashlight and everything, and we got the mantra, the one. And I felt a huge boulder off my chest. And it was like the Holy Spirit patted me on the back, was like, good job. And it wasn't that it was bad. It wasn't that it was evil. It was just God saying that is just not for you right now.
Mm.
And it was him reassuring that my focus needs to be on him, because the temptation that I might have on dwelling on this object is so powerful that it could tempt me constantly in my face. And these mantras you hang where you would hang a cross. You hang them in your bedroom. You know, you hang them in your house. You know, and this would overshadow my God. You know, Jesus Christ, and I couldn't have it. But I respect it, and I respect the power that it brings. And that's one thing that it was also telling me, that I can understand it. I'm allowed to like it. I'm allowed to respect it, but I can't have it putting on a show for my God. And then just killer visuals all the way into like stage 2, I would say. Just so much feelings, so many feelings. And this is where it saved like all the stuff I was bottling up for last. A lot of it has to do with my cousin. My cousin right now is 25. If you're seeing this, man, I love you, Jordan. Um, you know, he lost his mother at an early age, and it was scary because I had to kind of be the one to tell him and call him, and it hurt. It hurt. Not only did it hurt me knowing that he's going through um, a powerful time. I couldn't imagine it. if I lost my mom, I'd be in shambles. And like, I'm 42. My cousin's 25. It's such a young age. Like his mom Cheryl didn't, she didn't finish teaching him everything that she could have before, we lost her life. And it reminded me that I needed to be a better person to him. It reminded me that sometimes tough love, and you know what I'm talking about, Jordan. Sometimes tough love, I should be more compassionate with you. And it walked me through how I need to be there for you a lot more, and do things with him, and just let them know that he has somebody that loves him, and he has someone who's proud of him. No matter what, like you're like my cousin, you're my brother, you're my family, and you're my best friend too. And I should treat all that with positive intentions and throw away the tough love sometimes. Because I know that you're doing good, and I know, your mom put you on an amazing path, you know, and she definitely did that. You're an amazing person, and I love you, Jordan, if you're hearing this. And then the last thing was probably the biggest for me, in the ceremony, and it was definitely fireworks for me in terms of like feelings and emotions. I think I cried so loud during the entire time, and it brought up my near death experience where I I overdosed on heroin. I was in a locked bathroom, and I shouldn't I shouldn't I shouldn't be here right now. And one of the things, one of the reasons why I'm here was because of a friend that saved my life. That um, that came back and broke through that door and rescued me. I was dead to the touch, and if it wasn't for him, I would have never had this experience here at Dreamglade. I would have never gotten clean. I would have never understood any of this. But between him and God, his name is Sergio Lira. If you ever watch this, man, I love you, and thank you so much. I would have not been here if it wasn't for you, man. And I've never been able to tell you that. And coming here to Peru, to Dreamglade, doing ayahuasca, it pulled that deep out of my brain, deep out of my psyche, and just wanted me to tell you that thank you. I am so grateful for everything that you've done for me, and for saving my life, and allowing me to have a second chance. And I owe getting better to you, to my family, to all my friends. And I feel that this last ceremony told me that I shouldn't put anybody in that position again. And I want people to be proud of who I am. And to have all these ceremonies I've never expected. I would never have figured any of this out without ayahuasca, the staff here, Clarissa, Wade, Dreamglade, this environment, the jungle. This is a dream come true. The insights that it gives you is simply amazing. I can't even put into words. I don't have the best thesaurus. But I know that I have a lot of work to do when I get home. And I can't wait. I got everyone gifts. Got Jordan. I got you something, man. You're going to love it. I got my mom something. And my dad, too. If you're watching this, I love you. Thank you for reaching out when I came here. I was worried about even telling you. But I'm going to get with you, and we're going to have a good time. We're going to get back together and being a family again. And thank you. Thank you for everything. Yeah. Thank you. That's it.